All of our productions at GCTV are sponsored in part by Bay State Health, providing the care you and your family need when you need it close to home. Visit them online at baystatehealth.org. Greenfield Savings Bank. Visit them at 400 Main Street in Greenfield. Call them at 774-3191 or go online to greenfieldsavings.com. Greenfield Community College, providing access and excellence in higher education in the Pioneer Valley. Visit them at gcc.mass.edu. The Hammond Family. The Hammond family are longtime supporters of Greenfield Community Television. New Fortune Chinese Restaurant on the Mohawk Trail in Greenfield. Visit them online at newfortunema.com. Call them at 772-0838 and check them out on Facebook. Real Cleaning Services, cleaning Hampshire and Franklin County since 1972. We don't cut corners, we clean them. Check them out online at realclean.com. Call them at 413-422-1143. People's United Bank, located at 45 Federal Street in Greenfield. You can call them at 774-3713 or visit them online at peoples.com. The Solar Store of Greenfield, replacing fossil fuels and nuclear power one home at a time. Visit them at 23 Fisk Ave. Call them at 413-772-3122 or visit them online at solarstoreofgreenfield.com. Thank you to our sponsors for supporting all of GCTV's productions.
The Franklin County Chamber of Commerce is, of course, excited to celebrate its 100th anniversary this year. A task force guided by Julie Orbis and Ann Hamilton has met monthly for the past year, planning events and recognition of the variety of industry sectors that make up the economy in Franklin County. Each month has a theme, and we hope that by the end of 2019, you'll have a more complete picture of what makes us unique, what drives our economy, and how we envision our next 100 years. We don't have many records from 1919, but we do know that the Greenfield Board of Trade met the Mansion House and voted to incorporate to become the Greenfield Chamber of Commerce, which they did by submitting proper papers to the Secretary of State. Harry E. Hamilton of Hamilton and Butterfield Shoes was president at the time. Here's a description of the community in those early years of the 20th century, taken from a history of Greenfield Savings Bank. A town with the impressive old-time character remaining to dignify it, with the historical connection not lost, with its industrial life not a destroyer of the ideals set up by another generation, but molded its new life by the traditions of the old. Progress and conservatism balancing each other out in a town character far from deplorable. The town is set in the midst of scenes of fine natural beauty, which is beyond the population or change of pursuit to effect. 1919 was a time of streets being widened, paved, and lighted, along with shady elms and trolley tracks disappearing on Main Street. Cars brought gas stations and garages, apartment buildings made their first appearance, and business buildings were under construction. Records are sketchy until the 1950s, but it was in 1972 when the Greenfield Chamber decided to represent the broader community of Franklin County. We are pleased to have representatives of 5 of the original charter member businesses still as members today, and truly honored that representatives from each of these businesses are here with us this morning. We are proud to present an award recognizing 100 years of loyal membership to each. Yeah. The first is to Berkshire Gas, as presented to Gabe Josephs, Supervisor of Gas Operations. Eversource, as presented to Melissa Hancock, Office of Community Relations and Economic Development. Melissa is also a city sitting member of the Chamber Board of Directors. The Greenfield Reporter, as presented to publisher Aaron Julian. WHAI, as presented to General Manager Dan Quinn. And Wilson's Department Store, as presented to owner Kevin O'Neill. Again, thank you for your long and dedicated membership with the Franklin County Chamber of Commerce and for all that you have done to enrich and support our agency. Very good. And now, I'm finally happy to introduce Richie Davis, senior reporter at the Reporter. Richie came to the Greenfield Reporter in 1976 from editing at a group of weekly newspapers in suburban Rochester, New York, and he's been here ever since. With the exception of a year and a half as arts and weekend editor for the Springfield newspapers. He's won more than 35 awards for his writing, including numerous in-depth series and for overall agricultural reporting. Richie was awarded a grant from the Pulitzer Center last year to report from Kentucky on Leverett's Hands Across the Hills project. He's taken part in Charlemont Forum series for a presentation on the press and religion with the grandson of theologian Reinhold Niebuhr. He's delivered the annual Conager Lecture Series here at GCC, and last year he was named a local hero by community involved in sustaining agriculture. As a musician, he's performed at Carnegie Hall as part of the celebration of folk music with Pete Seeger, Sweet Honey in the Rock, and Peter, Paul, and Mary, and also at the 1992 presidential inaugural. That's great. Richie will relate a few happenings in the world in 1919 and discuss the highlights of his incredible 42-year journalism career at the Reporter before his retirement next month.
Well, this, I've never been up here before. And it's a little bit like being up at the Poet Sea Tower where you get to look out over everything you know about Franklin County and see all the people on whom most of you have either done a story or you know somebody you've done a story about. So, but I've only been at the Recorder for 42 and a half years, so I don't go back a century. To the time when Woodrow Wilson was president and Red Sox sold Babe Ruth to the Yankees, or the Boston molasses disaster happened, or we saw the birth of Liberace and Pete Seeger, Nat King Cole. We saw the death of Teddy Roosevelt, Renoir. But for me, that's a prologue to my story tied to the chamber this way. I consider myself a poster child for how people get attracted to Franklin County and never want to leave. Because I showed up here as a 23-year-old vacationer with my wife and three-month-old daughter for a week at Shelburne Dairy Farm, picked at random out of a farm and ranch vacation guidebook. And this was the second half of a 2-week vacation for my job as editor of a weekly newspaper in suburban Rochester. A dairy farm in the foothills of the Berkshires that promised a steady supply of home-baked muffins and seemed like a perfect complement or getaway from the first week, which was on a Lancaster County, Pennsylvania farm with 500,000 broiler chickens. Because we drove up I-84 and the Taconic Parkway to Pittsfield and then up 112 to the Mohawk Trail, I had no idea we landed anywhere near Amherst or Interstate 91. That's how lost I was. We pulled up that July at Mary, at the Fisk Farm on Zero Fisk Road. Mary and Fisk greeted us barefoot on the front lawn. "It's about time you got here. I was expecting you an hour ago," she said. And I fell in love with her and with the farm and with the neighbors who dropped in, with everything about Franklin County. We came back several times over the following year, leading up to a job hunting expedition based here, but encompassing much of New England and into the Hudson Valley of New York. And when the reporters at Al Loigle offered me a position as West County reporter, I was delighted. I passed up an offer at the Troy Record, and after first telling them that I was coming, because it seemed like I could grow here and maybe even spend a couple of years here. So I started the Recorder on August 9th, 1976, as Hurricane Bell was blowing into West County, and got a taste of how quirky the Recorder could be. Now this is Earl Reed Jones on the right there, and that's her sister, Madie, for a rare visit, but Neil Perry was sitting between them. And Neil was the editor who became my longtime friend and mentor. He was running around setting up Hurricane Command Center with reporters, dozens of Hilltown correspondents that we had back then. And he had everybody on high alert. And I had no clue why this was going on. And we didn't really have anything that happened. But in the days that followed, Neil took me on a tour of every nook and cranny in the hill towns. And he stopped at one point as we passed Bob Marion's Rare Books sign tacked up on a tree. And he, from Newell Road in Concord, where I just took a brand new reporter the other day on a trip around the county just to show her, give a taste of what it's really like off the beaten path. He said, "There's a story behind every tree, Richie." And he was right. This was a time when the newsroom typewriters clattered and AP teletypes hammered news in from around the world, when we cut and pasted stories with real scissors and paste. And we sent them to cigarette-smoking editors on long sheets of newsprint by walking them around, often across the room, to place in baskets. And editors came in around 6 in the morning, reporters at 7:30, deadline was about 3.5 hours later. And we had never had any idea what our mornings would be. What would we say there? We had rotary phones, and I did research using the Reader's Guide to periodical literature at the Greenfield Library across the street from those days. The Reporter Gazette was about a decade old in past its hot type days. It just went a month or so away from getting its first computers. If I've learned anything from sitting through these chamber breakfasts, it's that time flies. So I'm going to jump ahead and share some of my favorite stories over the 2.5 years and quicken the pace so that maybe we'll have some time for a question or two at the end. So I was immediately thrown into covering 9 West County towns. And I walked back and forth across the bridge at Sheldon Falls every Tuesday night, covering the simultaneous Sheldon and Buckland selectmen. It might have been 2 different worlds. Might as well have been 2 different worlds. And I love those down-home friends, those down-home guys, and the town hall ladies in Buckland and Sheldon. My favorite select man was Francis Barnard. They called him select man then. Francis Barnard was the quintessential wise old Yankee farmer. His brother, Dutch, donated Highlanders to Ottawa. And his language was so colorful for me that it leaped off those black and white pages, very black and white pages of those days. I also got to write about other amazing people like 84-year-old Minnie Richardson, who also shows up in Ron's Root Hog Goodbye film, which was If you've never seen Root Auger Guy, get it, because that is Franklin County in its essence. So Minnie Richardson greeted me barefoot in her garden saying, "Are you the fellow I've been cursing at for half an hour?" Just like Mary. It was from white-haired Minnie that I first learned about compost. And Flora Zilke, who I believe was wearing shoes when I interviewed her out of the Holly Bog, she introduced me to arugula. These women were downright inspiration. And Archie, what are you doing? And then there was the Yankee Atomic Plant, which was run hands-on style, so that when we got word that there was a mishap, and I called to check it out, there was no PR type there. It was Herb Audio, the plant superintendent, taking my call. I always had to worry that he had on one hand the phone and on the other hand the control panel. This was bare bones operations back then. So in 1980, I wrote this series about Yankee and about the birth of the anti-nuclear movement. These were the days when the Montague nukes were still being planned and actively protested. When metropolitan Boston was planning to divert the Quabbin River divert the Connecticut River to Quabbin for Boston's drinking supply. And when the Renaissance community had its 2001 center in Yale, as well as all of downtown Turners. There was no end to the controversies around here, and I started covering our county government, which was a bulwark for this little area. Some of my favorite meetings were with the county planning board and Franklin County commissioners, who every week battled with Beacon Hill in its attempts to abolish county government. In 1980, they threatened to lock the state out of the county courthouse to force decent rent. So it was an exciting time. This place was so forward-thinking that we created the state's first regional housing authority, the Regional Solid Waste District, the Rural Transit Authority, and all in the early 1980s with help from the planning board and people like Fred Buell, who I still am in touch with up in Maine. We had a Franklin County Energy Department that attracted Bill Moyers to come here and visit with us on PBS. So I created an energy and environment beat, covering farms and nukes and a bunch of exciting projects. Now, back when I was deciding whether I wanted to move here, I asked Marion Fisk, I said, Marion, out in western New York, I love the apples and the corn. Do you grow apples here? Do you grow corn here? I'm not sure about moving here. She said, you're out of your mind. So I decided to spend the day with a struggling Greenfield dairy farmer, Gary Allen, from 5 in the morning until 8 that night. And I returned 5 years later to find out that he was mostly driving a truck to make ends meet with his sons out running a dairy. I spent another full day on John Holy's Holy Cow Farm in Conway recently, observing how dairy farming had ruined his lungs and how hard it is to do dairy farming. And I try to convey that to readers. It's these salt and earth people who keep me bending over backwards to cover agriculture. As we saw the formation of CISA, and with our family farms built and farmers, markets, and CSAs. And I had a bumper crop of farm stories to keep me away from politics, like the one about the marvelous Dupre brothers, Mark and David, east and west of Eden Trail, struggling to make dairy and sheep herding viable. It seemed to me that with renewed interest in farming, I demanded that we do a series on young farmers like Ben Clark and Sorrel Hatch and Kim Hager, who were bringing new energy to the family farms here. And thank goodness they came back, and those farms are going, and it really enhances our lives here. I felt so blessed. I've always felt so blessed to work for a newspaper that allowed me to create stories, like a feature on hay, spend a day out in the hay fields. No one has ever done that at a daily newspaper that I'm aware of, outside maybe the Midwest. Hanging out all day with the entire Graves family in Shelton, including Grandpa. Do I sound like I'm enjoying my work? I woke up 3 in the morning to accompany the Red Lobster, Bud Foster, on one of his 7-week shopping trips to Boston markets. He did fish, fish. And you can't imagine what it's like to drive 2 hours either way with Bud in a truck. Some of my favorite stories had nothing to do with Franklin County, like the one I wrote to remind people to set their clocks ahead. I found the town of Ora, Indiana, on the dividing line between the Eastern and Central time zones, looking at the atlas. And I started calling, and I found that everybody who lived there had 2 sets of watches on their arms to keep track as they went back and forth across from daylight savings time back again. I phoned so many people in Ora that after a while the neighbors had heard that a reporter from Massachusetts was calling, and they'd say, "Oh yeah, I heard you were going to be calling." I even got invited to Ora's sesquicentennial celebration the next year, but I didn't go. Back here, I became county editor, hiring and overseeing a corps of half a dozen or so Hilltown correspondents, much fewer than the days when I arrived, when we had 30 or 40 correspondents in Griswoldville, Chatterville, Wydenville, East Coleraine, every little hamlet. This isn't a correspondent. This was a former neighbor, Bob Ripley, who was magnificent human being, and just being able to write about people like this was a gift. After a couple of years, when I left to do my editing in Springfield, I returned to write here and came up with Franklin Facts. It was a Trivial Pursuit type game. They thought I was crazy when I posted down in Springfield. The reporter went all out, printing on special paper in full color. I put together a fun Flights of Fancy tour that allowed me to visit the home of Elsie the cow, Dr. Seuss's home, Lake Choctaw, Man Choctaw, places like that. And there were plenty of serious stories too, like a series I wrote with Nicole Pisano on poverty in Franklin County, or hidden technology, or a series on sexual assault of children. I've covered politics more than I care to admit. And I was glad to get to do a story on revealing to some people that Richie was their congressman. When I learned that Denise DiPaolo was planning to start a restaurant in Trimmer's Falls, I followed that process for about a year, more than a year, to discover how fascinating and complicated an enterprise it could be. And it turned out to be the longest series that I've ever written, and it nearly crashed the computers at the recorder. Where am I? Yeah. In addition to writing breaking news stories, as any reporter of a small newspaper would, what I've loved about my work is writing articles that celebrate the community, that deepen our understanding of stories, that run deep, and make clear what I think are important stories at many levels. Stories that inspire people about who the heroes are who live among us, about people who are doing fascinating work, who are exploring intriguing worlds, or expressing creative ideas, stories that encourage a positive vision of the magical world that surrounds all of us. And this series was about Shelburne Falls as a sort of gentrifying community that was attracting all kinds of exciting and interesting enterprise, and just laying it all out there. And it was one of the stories series that won awards for me. The awards were less important than the gratification of really getting to interact with the community. At the Recorder, I've gotten to imagine and execute enterprising stories like a 3-part series on exploring creativity with people like Gordon Justman and Arnie Black and Earl Pope and Barry Mosier. I sat in on an English as a second language class for an entire semester to follow the motivations and perseverance of students from around the world. I did in-depth explorations of Franklin County's French, Canadian, Polish, Jewish community, a series on its growing Latino community, one about new residents who immigrated here from the former Soviet Union. And I thrilled digging into a story, a powerful story about the Cambodian temple and the community surrounding it. I got to dive in and write about several people locally whose lives were upended by the September 11th attacks, and to interview a host of people in the 90s and 100s for an entire series looking back on the 20th century through their eyes. And every time I did one of these series, it was like I presented it to myself as a, how can I do this completely differently? And it was always an education for me. Then one holiday season, I did a feature following a letter from Shelburne Falls to Greenfield by way of Springfield and Ohio to show how our mail does get around. There was a series about baby boomers and the silver tsunami that my own retirement was part of. I even got to write a whole series about yogurt, which surprised my editors even more than most of my projects, and including a video of a Moldovan woman making her own yogurt. And then when Kinder Morgan announced plans to build its gas pipeline, I spent months plowing through federal documents to report on all of its possible ramifications. I've explored the erosion of the Connecticut River and its operations in the dismantling of the Vermont Yankee Nuclear Plant. And I interviewed railroad salvage magnate Ruby Vine and a pair of mostly septic waste guys who went up the click and clack of crap. And I did a profile on a bright, courageous West African student here at GCC, victim of genital mutilation in her country, fighting for women's empowerment. She's now a student at Smith, and working on stories like that. Just mind-blowing. Well, my editor, George Borsi, said he didn't have anything planned to run in that dead week between Christmas and New Year's. I drew up an entire series on religion, exploring debate between science and faith, brought in a bunch of scientists and clergy for a conversation about how mixed faith couples celebrate Christmas in Hanukkah, along with a profile of an evangelist minister here, and a smorgasbord of ashrams and meeting houses and Buddhist temples and Little Everett. And last year I was lucky enough to travel with a group for a series of in-depth dialogues between Franklin County and Richard County, Kentucky. For my ice cream tour de creme across Franklin County with a 15-year-old Montague ice cream palace, to interviews with Paul Stuckey and Pete Seeger and Yo-Yo Ma and Sloan Coffin and Paul Winter and Tracy Kidder. This has been a dream job. Not always. Because Franklin County is an all-natural, down-home New England, where real-life stories abound. There's nothing pompous or artificial about this neck of the woods. If I've had any bias in my reporting all these years, it's that the soul of this place just resonates so deeply for me as a breath of fresh air, the quality of life, rather than the quantity of life matters. It's Robert J. Lutz of public radio. He also cursed me on the air because I got him on track. It's a place where collaboration, where innovation, openness really does seem to thrive. And a place where the recorder is a connective tissue. It's a vital tissue that helps create a common ground. I don't know that I would have been able to dig beneath the surface as much anywhere else and let the stories flow quite the same way. There's Ron's She's still around. in Nashville. Very way up. So I feel it's a privilege that I've gotten to write about the many heroes I found here behind every tree. And I thank the reporter, and I thank you.
Productions at GCTV are sponsored in part by Bay State Health, providing the care you and your family need when you need it close to home. Visit them online at baystatehealth.org. Greenfield Savings Bank. Visit them at 400 Main Street in Greenfield. Call them at 774-3191 or go online to greenfieldsavings.com. Greenfield Community College, providing access and excellence in higher education in the Pioneer Valley. Visit them at gcc.mass.edu. The Hammond Family. The Hammond family are longtime supporters of Greenfield Community Television. New Fortune Chinese Restaurant on the Mohawk Trail in Greenfield. Visit them online at newfortunema.com. Call them at 772-0838 and check them out on Facebook. Real Cleaning Services, cleaning Hampshire and Franklin County since 1972. We don't cut corners, we clean them. Check them out online at realclean.com. Call them at 413-422-1143. People's United Bank, located at 45 Federal Street in Greenfield. You can call them at 774-3713 or visit them online at peoples.com. The Solar Store of Greenfield, replacing fossil fuels and nuclear power one home at a time. Visit them at 23 Fisk Ave. Call them at 413-772-3122 or visit them online at solarstoreofgreenfield.com. Thank you to our sponsors for supporting all of GCTV's productions.